entertainment with the jazz music or reggae or blues, whatever genre, and he improvises. He takes nothing, hip-hop, taking old records and turntables and creating a whole culture out of that. Barack Obama took hip-hop elements and put them into a political campaign, and McCain and the Republican Party didn't even know what to do with it. They couldn't even respond to it. This dude is drawing out 100,000 people here in Denver, Colorado to come see him. And a lot of people got hip through it through their text messaging. Be at Civic Center Park at 10 p.m., Barack Obama speaking. And it's shot quicker than what the TV could announce.
Absolutely.
You see? So, I mean, Barack Obama, man, is in a position, and I got a lot of praise for him because he's done something that no brother has ever done. I mean, out in the open. We've had other black presidents, and I never fail to say this. We've had other black, people that look totally white, but they was black, you know. But this is our first acknowledged black president, and he's doing things, man, and he's bringing things from hip-hop culture, and he's just changing the game.
And I agree with you in the sense that I think that part of the solution to our problems as a people, whether we just be talking about black people, oppressed people, or just the American people, lie in being more active politically. I think that's definitely part of the solution. But I think we also have to keep in mind that since we didn't create the system, we don't control the system. And the devil is in the details. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
and
sir.
so the devil, if he made that system, he can uproot it. You know what I'm saying? He can manipulate it to make it do whatever he wants it to do. But I think that part of the solution lies in our political activism. But more importantly, the solution to our problems lie in exactly what you alluded to earlier, and that is that we must get up and do something for ourselves.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's what Barack is really a sign of. He didn't win the election as, what did his mother call him as he was coming up? Little Barry Obama, which I'm sure she gave him that name, you know, affectionately so that the other kids in school wouldn't tease him for having this funny sounding African name. So brother grew up with Barry, but when he came of age and came into his own, he decided, no, I'm going to be who I am. I'm going to be my original self, Barack Hussein Obama.
And that goes back to what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, accept your own and be yourself.
True indeed. So in that, accepting your own, being yourself, doing something for self, that absolutely is the solution to all of our problems, no matter who's in office.
And just think of the psychological image that our children are blessed to wake up and see every day. When they turn on CNN or Fox News, they see a black man sitting at the helm of power at the table making decisions. And that's because look at the images that we had back in the 80s. When we was teenagers, we had images of Rick James, Michael Jackson. These was the biggest black people. And we all went and got the glove the next day, didn't we? We went and got the jacket, and we was spinning and moonwalking, and, you know, or the sports athlete, Michael Jordan in the 90s. All of us wanted to be Michael. But now, who do we want to be? We want to be articulate, clean-cut, black man who is intelligent, who, you know, who is on the ball, making decisions, making moves, and in charge. And now our children see that. And so now the next generation of them are going to be different than us. And then a lot of us got the image of in the 70s we had Superfly. In the 80s we had Nino Brown. In the 90s we had some other gangster thug, you know, that image that they created. So psychologically, this is a powerful image for black children and all children of color.
It's a very, man, I agree, man. It's a very powerful image, a very powerful psychological image. But what we have to be mindful of, and I have to bring up the negativity, but we're dealing with a very wicked enemy that, you know, during the 60s and the 70s, you had the Black Power movement. You know what I'm saying? Even during the 80s, you had this resurgence of blackness, and even in the late 80s and going into the 90s, you had this resurgence of blackness. The Nation of Islam and hip hop was teaching black activism and knowledge of self and this and that and the third. And in each of those time periods, the enemy came with something to counter that positivity that was going on in the black community in regards to the images that we were seeing. And during the 70s, like you mentioned, instead of the Black Panther parties, they glorified Priest and Superfly. You know what I'm saying? During the 80s and the 90s, they brought in the whole gang banging mentality, where brothers cut off their high top fades and grew a jerry curl. You know what I'm saying? Just the straight up feminization of the black man.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
Can I make a confession?
Go ahead.
I used to have a jerry curl.
Me too.
And you know something? You know what made me cut my jerry curl off?
What's that?
I read the autobiography of Malcolm X, and he was talking about, the conch,
Right.
the whole conch thing. And he said something in the autobiography. He was like, if you notice, most Negroes who have processed hair aren't intelligent. And I remember reading that part, and I was like, man, I looked in the mirror, and I had all this grease on my back and my neck. You remember you used to have to go to sleep with the bag on your head, and then you wake up and the bag would be on the floor, and your pillow be on, your face be greasy. And I looked at that, and I said, that's not intelligent.
Right.
And that made me cut my jerry curl off.
Sir.
Straight up.
So yeah, we do have to be mindful of those mechanisms that the enemy will come up with. Because as sure as there's a Barack Obama, there's an anti-Barack Obama somewhere waiting to be pulled out.
And it's already brewing up, man. When you listen to conservative talk radio, man, and you hear the stuff that the white racist, the angry white male out there is emboldened now.
Right.
I mean, he's saying stuff that he wouldn't have said 5 years ago.
Right.
Because it's just that hatred that this Negro is in charge, and I'm not.
Right.
And it's not just Barack Obama. This is a few people, man. This is a few ignorant, racist people out there, white supremacists. Racist is too general, so I got to be specific.
Yes, sir.
There's white supremacy out there, and that can't stand the fact of a black man being in the seat of power.
Right.
And now Rush Limbaugh is saying stuff. They playing some song, Barack the Magic Negro.
Yeah, I heard about
and
that.
he's saying that he hopes he fails.
Right.
I mean, he just done taken haterism to a whole new level. And why? Yeah, I was listening to this talk show on the radio. This is before the election even jumped off. And a white guy called up this talk show and said, you know something? Reason why a lot of white guys don't want to see Barack Obama be president? Because they're afraid that their wife might want to lead them for a black man. Just this brother becoming president have some of them so fearful that they think that their wife is going to leave them for a black man.
Went back to Francis Cress Welsing teaching. White genetic annihilation.
Well, I'm just saying a lot of that's real.
That's real.
And the mentality. And when you listen to these conservative, I love it, man. I love turning on. Before the election, I turn on conservative. I get mad. Now it's like I love it, man, because the brother's in there. He won. Right. And I can hear these people complain all damn day because a black man is in power.
Right.
I love it.
And and this is just a sidebar, and it's just refreshing. I just watched this interview during the Super Bowl, and it was just refreshing to have not just a brother, but a person who is intelligent, who's articulate, who has a sense of humor, because we haven't had that for at least 8 years. We had a let me stop. A fool up in there for the last 8 years.
Absolutely.
So that was just refreshing. Now, I wanted to ask your opinion about just the whole pictures of the inauguration. And they said there was an estimated 2.5 million people in Washington, D.C. And, I'm watching I watched it on television. I watched the parade, and it was just awesome just to think, man, this brother is really in power. He's really in that seat. Can you think of an inauguration in your lifetime that compares to what you've seen?
There's nothing